Yo, what's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we've got a brand new video, more Bitcoin talk. With the big correction that's happened, a lot of people wondering what's going to happen with Bitcoin, what they should do with their Bitcoin, and it just seems like it's a big conundrum to everybody. So, basically, you can see right here, we got Bitcoin testing just under 34K, 33.7, 33.8. It's going to be around this level, or it's been around this level for the past couple days. There was that 20% correction that did happen and brought the price down to just about $30,000. And when that happened, a lot of people got scared off. A lot of people were just getting into the market. A lot of new people in the market. A lot of people who haven't experienced this type of volatility. And when you combine all of that, you get a lot of fear in the market, in the new people involved in crypto and in Bitcoin in particular here. So is Bitcoin done? Should you sell everything and call it a day? Probably not. Bitcoin still at this point is just getting started in this bull market phase. When you look back in history, you can see during the last halving and the big bull market, there were 4 different drops of like 38 to 40% drops. They were big, massive drops, but they didn't really have big effects. They, lingered like this and then went right back up. So that's kind of what I'm expecting here. I don't expect this to drop much further. I think the 20% correction was enough of a correction when we had a huge parabolic run, and that run in itself ridiculous. In less than a month, more than 100% gains in Bitcoin. So it was a big parabolic run. This kind of correction was expected. It's nothing to be worried about. The only thing you can be asking yourself is, are you buying the dip? So obviously there's always a chance that it dips lower. There's always a chance that it tests different targets and stuff. And nobody knows where Bitcoin's going. No one knows what's going on. No matter who comes out here and says that they know Bitcoin's going to go to 50K by the end of the month, or someone can say they know Bitcoin's dropping to 10K within the week because of their analysis and all this stuff. It just doesn't work on Bitcoin that way, especially when it's in a bull market like this. Right now, there is a lot of money on the sidelines from institutions who are getting ready to buy and just aren't pulling the trigger yet. So there's a lot of money sitting there. We already have a lot of institutions in Bitcoin. Once we start getting more, then the price will continue to stabilize. The 20% drops are going to be what the normal correction is now, and it was almost 40% during the last run. So that being cut in half, more stability coming in, more people buying and holding, and the price should reflect that. And a big part of Bitcoin and being involved in this space is being able to stomach these drops. So if you got worried, if you got nervous, if you wanted to pull your money out, then that probably means you have too much money in Bitcoin or are too leveraged in it. And that would mean that you have to rely more on your emotions, because the lower the price goes, the more scared you're going to get, and the more likely you are to sell at either a loss or, cutting down your profits. So a big rule to just keep in mind is always hold your Bitcoin and just keep your money in there. The best thing to do is hold Bitcoin through thick and thin. It's proven that it just goes up over time. Of the 12 years Bitcoin's existed, there's only been 1 year where it's been a negative returning year, maybe 2 years, but then the other 10 were positive years and insane years. They were like 300% years. So just always keep that in mind when you see the Bitcoin price diving or dumping or having a dip, little correction. Just know if you sell, that's when you lose money. You don't lose money if the price goes down. You only lose money if you sell. And you're going to feel real dumb looking back at $33,000 in Bitcoin in 6 months if it's at 100,000 or 200,000. You're going to feel real dumb looking back and seeing if you sold because you got worried of the price going down further. And just a big story that came up in Bitcoin today that is just another reason why, if you're involved, you got to take the time to learn everything. Make sure you know what you're doing. Don't get too deeply involved without doing your research and knowing what you're going to do, knowing your plan and knowing how to send crypto, send Bitcoin to different addresses, and do it safely. So, you can see right here, this is a story of, I guess, Stephen Thomas, German-born programmer, and he lost $220 million in Bitcoin because you can see his password unlock a small hard drive, his iron key, which contains his private keys. He lost the password to that. So he lost the password to get his keys, which would get him access to his wallet, and lost 7,002 Bitcoin. So $220 million gone. Very expensive lesson. I know I've read through this. He says it's his own fault. He takes responsibility. He knows that it's his own, doing like that. But that just keeps more in mind, Bitcoin, you are your own bank. You are responsible for your own funds. If you send Bitcoin to the wrong address, that could be gone forever. If you lose your private keys, could be gone forever. If you lock your private keys away in a hard drive and you lose the password to that hard drive or to that computer, they're gone forever and then you can't get them back. So that's just something to keep in mind and make sure that you know what's going on with Bitcoin. So all in all, I would say with Bitcoin is always to look to the future. Don't look to what's happening in the short term. Bitcoin's not going to go to $200,000 in 3 days. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be a rocky road to get there. And with that will come highs where people are making a lot of money and are very happy, and lows where people are either losing money from buying, during where it was higher, or losing out on profits and then second guessing whether they should have sold or whatever. But all in all, always look forward. Have your own plan. You can take profit if you want, if that's part of your plan. Or if your plan is like mine, where a long-term hold for multiple years at least to allow Bitcoin to just do its job and create value. So we can see too with this, obviously almost going back to $34,000 per Bitcoin. A lot of talks about Bitcoin sustaining over 35,300 will give it enough momentum to try and go back up to 40,000 and try and make a new all-time high. I think that that's very possible. I think that we've seen the bulk of this dip. It could go lower. Obviously, it can always go lower, but I think we've seen the dip, and now we're seeing that, slow roll back up to the all-time high, which we might be at by the end of the week. It might be something where we're challenging the $40,000 or the $42,000 all-time high, where we almost got to that. Re-challenge of that all-time high to create another one, and then if we do that, then people are just going to forget about this dip. They're going to hate that they missed out, that they got scared to get involved in it when it did dip, because a lot of people were saying they're waiting for the dip to buy Bitcoin. The dip's here, and a lot of people I'm hearing are not buying the dip. So guys, let me know what you think of Bitcoin. Are you getting involved? Did you buy this dip? Or are you just sitting on the sideline and watching the price? And as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe button. We are on the path to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next video.